Okay. If you can see me, please let me know. If you can hear me, how is the volume? Please let me know in the comments. I'm just trying to adjust this. Okay, I think this is better now. This is better. Let me know if you can hear me well. If you have just joined, let's know where you're joining from. All right, so let's talk about this denying your husband of sex in marriage. It is a violation of your vow. Depending on where you took your vow, it doesn't matter if you took your vow in church or maybe you went to courthouse or wherever, as long as there was a vow, right? If you're joining us, please let me know where you are joining from, right? Okay, so I'll just wait for some minutes. Let's see if we'll get. Let me know where you're joining from. Thank you for joining. Let me know where you're joining from, right? Okay. Let me know where you're joining from, please. And if you can hear me. Okay. So denying your husband of sex in marriage is a violation. It is of the vows you made. Remember how you said for better or for worse, in sickness and in health, to death do you part, right? It's not only for good days, even in bad days. Now, I believe that there are so many reasons actually why a woman will not want to have sex with her husband, even though he is her husband. There are so many reasons, and in my channel, I did a video on that, right? If you're new to my channel, please you can check a video I made about why a woman or your wife wouldn't want to have sex with you. Okay, so but I'll just touch on that a little bit before we continue. There are so many reasons. Number one, the reason why your woman might not want to have sex with you is if you cheat. For some people, even after they have forgiven you, right, they still have this image in their head like they can't seem to get over it. In that case, you can maybe see a therapist or try to talk it through, like talk to her and give her some time, okay? But basically, I would like to talk about some of the reasons why women like selfishly don't want to have sex with their husband. Maybe he's you know how it is now. One thing in life is like things don't stay permanently forever. Okay, maybe he's the kind of man that when you met him, he can go 5 rounds, 6 rounds, and now all of a sudden he probably has like a health issue and he can't even sustain 1 round or 2 rounds, and you're somehow now irritated by the whole situation and you don't want to give him the cookie anymore. Okay, now before I continue, please, I'm talking about sexual relationship within a marriage relationship, within the confines of marriage, okay? Please, I am not in any way or form encouraging premarital sex, okay? So, one of the reasons why your wife might not want to have sex with you is because maybe you're not that strong anymore, or maybe you cheated on her, or another thing is maybe you don't treat her well. Okay, even though these are not it's not a yardstick, because when you make your vow as a woman, like we women, we can be very emotional. When you make a vow, you promise. It's a promise. You promise to love that man in good health and in bad health, in whatever situation. One thing about this whole marriage thing is I've come to realize that at the preparation phase, people are so excited. I can't wait for that day to come. I want to say I do. I want to love you forever. People are excited, and it's almost as if they didn't think about this thing, because it's not an easy decision. It's not just a relationship, or maybe you're going to visit and when you're done, you get bored, you come back home. No, you're embarking on a journey where you're going to stay there till maybe death comes, right? So people like almost don't think things through, so to speak. They don't really think about it. And then you're so excited, the day has come and you make your vows. 5 years into the marriage, 10 years into the marriage, you begin to feel irritated by this man. You don't want him to touch you. I mean, if you deny him of sex for 1 week, for 2 weeks, for 3 weeks, it's even a little bit more understandable. For 3 months, for 6 months, some people go as far as denying their husband of sex for 3 years. I mean, what is he supposed to do? We need to talk about this. Like, we seriously need to talk about this. What is he supposed to do? Now, when he cheats, it's a different ball game altogether. Now he's cheating, and even me, I don't support cheating. But do you know that when your husband cheats on you for denying him of sex for 3 years, I mean, he has just been there for 3 whole years or 2 whole years, no, nothing. And he goes outside and he goes out to get it. Do you know it's somehow justifiable, even though it doesn't make it right? Okay, it doesn't make it right, but it is justifiable somehow. I mean, what is a man supposed to do in that situation? And another thing is, we women sometimes we have this entitlement mentality. You still want him to be very loving, very kind, be a provider, a protector, and still denying him of one thing that is very important to him. That is, I call it wickedness. If you have a problem, if you know you can't, I mean, there is room for counseling. Although, in Nigeria, in Africa, basically where I live, in Nigeria where I live, there's this thing that is not so common here. People don't quickly go to therapists, they don't see shrinks, unlike the Western world where these things are more accessible to people, right? A lot of people are suffering in their relationship. And these are things that maybe you won't even hear this in church, or maybe they won't want to go into all of that detail. Although some churches now are beginning to, come through because they understand that, come, we know if they do shame for this matter again. This is destroying a lot of relationships. A man might not even be himself, might not even enjoy himself, and because of lack of sex. So, as a woman, you should not deny your husband of sex. If you have a problem, if you cannot forgive him, because even the Bible says it that if for the cause of adultery, you can actually divorce your husband. You can divorce your husband if he cheats on you and you cannot forgive him. You can divorce him and move on as long as you divorce him and you stay unmarried. Because when you remarry and your husband is still very much alive, then it is adultery. All right. So when you divorce your husband because you cannot forgive him, that's a different thing entirely. But if you're still in that marriage and you say you have forgiven him, then you should be able to. I know it's not easy. These things are easier said than done. Okay. I have never been in that situation where maybe I don't know when my husband would cheat on me and it's so glaring in my face, I can see it, and then he comes back home to tell me that, oh baby, it's a mistake, it's the devil, even when I know that I'm trying. Okay, I know it's not easy, but you have to just try as much as possible to forgive. And when you forgive completely, I know you can't maybe erase your memory, right? But you have to forget it and embrace your husband. Okay, you cannot keep denying him of sex and then expect him to behave normal, to love you, to provide adequately, even though a good man will. A good man will do all of this, right? But you cannot deny him. And thank you for joining. Please, if you're joining us, let me know where you're joining from. Let me know where you're joining us from, right? Thank you for joining. I appreciate you. Please let me know where you're joining from, and let me know if you can hear me clearly. Okay, so we're talking about um denying your husband of sex being a violation of your marriage vow. It is very important. Do not deny your husband of sex in marriage, right? That is wicked, inconsiderate. Okay. Thank you, Derek Patrick, for joining. Thank you. Let me know where you've joined from. All right. So, like I was saying, if because there are so many reasons actually in that video I made, I talked about a lot of reasons why women might not feel comfortable, just opening up and being with their husband. I talked about the way the men treat them. Some men, communication is very important. Communication can like make this whole problem go away. If there's any issue, talk about it, speak about it. Thank you for joining us. If you're joining, let me know where you're joining from, please. And if you can hear me, please let me know if the audio is very okay. Thank you for joining Abubakar Salisu. I appreciate you. So, a woman might not want to have sex if you don't treat her well, right? If you're the type that don't communicate with your wife, you don't even discuss with her, she's almost like a decoration in the house. There are wives that are like decorations. Okay, she's just there. Is when you need it, and you like maybe at night you come to her and you like open, like they say in Arewa. Like I'm sure Salisu would understand that kebude, that kebude thing. It might not work with every woman, and she can open it for you, right? Kebude means open up. Hey girl, open up in Hausa, right? She can open up for you, but what happens after she opens up? Okay, sexual intercourse is not just about the man climaxing and all of that. The whole overall satisfaction is that the woman is fine, satisfied, and happy, and the man is fine, satisfied, and happy. Okay, so some of the reasons why women might want to deny their husband sex in marriage, even though it's not justifiable, because I mean, the fact that you're doing it is a violation. I've said it time without number. Like, thank you for joining. Let me know where you're joining from, and let me know if you can hear me clearly, please. All right, it's a violation of a vow you made. Do not deny your husband of sex. If you have any problem, I believe if you have any problem, let me just finish that line of thought, right? If you have any problem, make sure you talk about it. If you talk to him and he doesn't seem to be listening to you, he's not giving you the answer you want. I believe that every marriage should have like an authority you can run to. Because at the end of the day, we're all human beings, right? We make mistakes and we behave like humans sometimes. All the time, of course, we're human beings. So there should be someone you can talk to. Like I was listening to a message recently, and the woman said, if you marry a man that doesn't have any authority over his head, it's almost as if it's a disaster waiting to happen, right? Because nobody can call him to order. Nobody can caution him. That one is very dangerous. So you should marry a man. Your husband should be someone that even when you talk to him, why here there should be someone you can talk to that he would listen to. If it can be his pastor or maybe anybody in his life that he respects. So a man should have someone that he respects that he can talk to. So that way you know that okay, fine. When you do, you go to that person. Okay. So, like I said, another reason why I talked about the way the man treats the woman, right? Communicates with her, melts her heart. These things are simple. Some of you men, I don't know. Some of you, especially our African men, you seem to be very unromantic. Talk to her well. Tell her you love her and like appreciate her. Women thrive on what they hear. They are moved. That is how we fall in love, right? That is how we fall in love. It's as simple as that. Thank you. Thank you for the like. Thank you for joining. I appreciate you. Let me know where you've joined from, okay? All right. So it's simple. Melt her heart. Tell her you're trying. Listen, it might be that maybe you don't have all the money for now, and maybe she's asking you for something and you're not giving it to her. Explain to her. Communication is key. When you don't say something, see, we are all human beings. If my husband doesn't say something to me expressly and make me understand, there is no way I'm going to understand. I not be spirits. I be human being. Okay? If you don't make me understand, I will not be able to understand. One other reason why women might want to deny their husband of sex is maybe she's asking for something and it's almost as if you're denying her of that thing. I know some women like to weaponize sex, which is very, very wrong. You shouldn't. Sex is something that a tool for enjoyment, a tool for understanding within a marriage relationship, not something you can use as a weapon against that man. I mean, imagine say man come conji hold am like this guy wants this thing and you're holding back. What is he supposed to do? And he cannot go out because if he is, of course, he's in a monogam, how do they call it now? A relationship where he's not supposed to go out and get the cookies from outside, and you're denying him. What is a man supposed to do? So you need to resolve this issue. Don't hold back because he said he's going to give me some money to change my wardrobe. He's not giving it to me. He's not taking care of me. So because of that, you hold on to it tight as if your life depends on it. My sister, at the end of the day, you're not going to do yourself any good and you might not even get what you're looking for, right? So please don't do that. I mean, don't do that. If he's stingy, or maybe I believe if he's that stingy, you wouldn't have married him, right? For me, I don't like stingy men. If you say you're going to do something, please try and do it. Okay, it's even better that you under promise than promising and not even doing it at all. Okay, one thing with a promise is a promise is a promise. Once you say something and you're saying like, okay, baby, this is what I want to do for you. I'm going to do this for you. Try as much as possible to come true, right? If you know you're not ready yet, don't make promises you cannot keep. This is one of the reasons why women, because some women lack understanding. Some of us don't have this understanding. For those of us who have not really, for those of us who have not exposed themselves to a lot of learning, because for me, I have exposed myself to a lot of learning and even unlearning. There are so many things. When I first got married, I entered marriage with a lot of entitlement. Entitlement mentality. Is he supposed to do this for me? Is he not supposed to know that he's going to do the, why ain't going to do like this? Why ain't going to do like that? So, but over time, I got to realize that some of these things we have learned or we came into marriage with, you have to just consciously unlearn this thing, unpack, unpack, right? And then learn the new ones. Learn to constantly forgive. Learn to even forgive in advance. Learn that men are different from women. In fact, so different, not even in the physical attributes, different in the way they think, different in the way they see things. Do you know that I can be seeing something now? Maybe I'm seeing white, or I'm seeing a man and a goat or whatever, and maybe I call my husband, honey, come and see something, and then he's looking at the same picture, right? But he's seeing a different thing because the way they perceive is different. The way they understand these things, they are different. Women are different too. So a lot of us fail to understand that we are not the same. We don't think alike. And that is why she feels that he doesn't care about me, he doesn't show me support, he doesn't show me care. So with that, we tend to withhold sex from men. It is very, very wrong. It is very, very, very wrong. And for the men, if your wife is holding, like if she's trying to hold sex from you, you should look inward sometimes. What are you doing that is wrong? What are you doing? Try and be considerate. Considerate can be that, I mean, when you come back from work, just wash up, smell fresh. When you smell fresh, you become sexually appealing immediately because you smell fresh. You not necessarily because you're the most handsome man on earth, right? But because you smell good. I mean, some people can't stand that whole body odor thing, right? So please, when you smell fresh, and even if she's angry, say if you get some smell wey person go perceive, you will just be in the mood, right? So try and take care of yourself because when you're taking care of yourself, you're also taking care of the woman. It's as simple as that. So the main topic here is, please, if you have any contribution or questions to ask me, feel free to drop them in the comments, right? Feel free. Thank you for joining. Thank you. I appreciate you. Feel free to drop it in the comment and like this video. Please give it a like. That is how I know that I'm not saying rubbish. Just boop the like button, okay? Thank you very much. So it is totally a violation of your vow. It is totally, in fact, in every aspect, in any way you want to look at it, it is a violation of your vow. It is a violation of a vow. If, for example, that man probably had an accident and he is now confined in a wheelchair, it's still not a yardstick for you to deny him of sex because you made a vow and you said for better or for worse. For better or for worse. So even if he's confined in a wheelchair, and when we talk about sexual intercourse here, for so many people, it can be mean so many things. It can for him, for some men, it can just be that okay, now maybe he's incapable of doing so many things, but it might just be that okay, by kissing him, right, or just but to get him to feel that way again, okay, it's very important. I pray that none of us will experience a situation where you'll be in marriage and then, God forbid, a man that is healthy, handsome, and strong, all of a sudden is now confined in a wheelchair. Although life happens, okay, we can't predict what tomorrow holds. What we can do is to pray for a better tomorrow, to pray for better days, right? But we cannot really predict what will happen tomorrow. Like they say, tomorrow is not promised. What we have is today. I don't want this to be like maybe gloomy, but this is just stating the realities of life. So please, my dear ladies, I understand these things. Some men can be very stingy, some men can be inconsiderate, some men can be like, some of them behave like stray dogs. Like sometimes I was having a discussion with someone about marriage some days ago, and I'm like, see, marriage is not actually for everybody. Oh. Even though in Africa, sometimes people are pressured into going into this marital relationship. Some people are not meant to be married. They're not ready for them. They don't want to be in a heterogeneous relationship where you have to be with one woman all the days of your life. Some of them cannot be in one relationship. Some of them want to be in relationships where they have the ability to taste this person or taste this one and have variety. Okay, there is no judgment to anybody. Last, now God go judge us. But I'm talking about marital relationship where, like a monogamous relationship where it's one man, one woman. Okay, so please, before you even say those vows, be sure in your mind of mind that if you do this thing, because it's not easy. Marriage is more like an eye opener. Like for some people say that if you think love is blind, marriage is an eye opener, right? Because when you're in the dating phase, she's all beautiful and everything, but once you're married, you get to see her in her full form. No makeup, nothing. You're seeing the face, no makeup, no nothing. Unlike when you're still dating, that you don't get to maybe sometimes see everything. So marriage is not a child's play, okay? Because this is when people are married, and normally a woman might not start denying her husband of sex from the very first day. That is not possible. It is when she has now come to realize certain things, that is when she begins to behave like that. Some of them are not totally like faulty in this situation, okay? Some of them have very tangible reasons, very, very tangible reasons. Because I remember one time I was in church, the pastor was preaching and he said something like one of the very prominent people he knows in his life, he had a problem recently and he had to open up to him and tell him that he cannot sleep with his wife until he has beaten her to stupor. That is when he's like, he now begins to feel like it. I mean, imagine that kind of situation. That is crazy. I can't even imagine, like, you have to beat a woman to stupor before you now. A lot of things they happen, no. A lot of things they happen. But please, if you make these vows, that is why like I said, that is why we have things like people like therapists. We have people like authorities in a marriage relationship. There are people you can talk to if his parents are still alive. Thank you, thank you, Godwin. I appreciate you. Let me know where you're tuning in from. Thank you. So that is why you have people that are like authorities in your life. People you can someone at least, even if it's not people, even if there are not many, someone you can talk to that would call him to order. Because I believe that one thing that every woman wants is a family. That is why you meet a girl and maybe you're still, maybe you've not even made your intention clear to her and she's already thinking marriage, thinking children, thinking Zimbabwe. Okay, thank you so much for joining. I appreciate you. All right. You meet a girl and imagine, funny enough, you never tell her say you like her, and she's already thinking, have you ever been in a situation like that? So maybe you're being friendly with a girl that you've not told that you want to marry or anything, and when she sees you, she's already, because originally that is the way we are. We tend to think about, marriage, children, just home basically. Every woman, almost every woman, anyways, let me not generalize, right? Almost every woman likes to think about home, peaceful home. So if she's withholding sex, for some of them who are narcissistic, there are evil women actually. There are women that maybe what they saw before they said I do, after getting into the whole relationship is not what they are seeing. So they now wear this other form that they just become this person that you cannot even explain. She withholds sex from you for 6 months, for 1 year, and you're like, and you're not even supposed to go out. That would be adultery, right? That would be adultery, that would be cheating. What are you supposed to do? No woman is supposed to do that. That is even wicked. For me, I think that is wicked. And like I said, I'm like it's almost as if I'm repeating myself in this live stream. Like I said, please, if there's any issue that it's too much and that is the reason why you're withholding sex, talk to somebody about it. Look for an authority in his life and kind of have a round table. Make everybody talking on Abi, talk your mind so that they can be changed so that he can change. If he's the type that doesn't like foreplay, because some men too don't like to do foreplay, you're always in a rush. For a woman, statistically for a woman, it takes about 45 minutes to like be in the mood. Not for every woman, anyways, but most women. It takes time. You have to put her in the mood. Okay, so you have to take the time. Don't rush. Some of you will be asking questions like, are you there yet? No, don't rush. Take your time, and while you're kissing her and all of that, tell her good, sweet words. It will even further make her melt her mind and put her in the mood. Because we women are slow to, reach this state where we now want to open up and do all of the action. But for men, I think from the get go, they're already ready. That's why for some men who are not so probably considerate, they just want to like, bude. No, no. As long as you don't intend to force her into this action, you want to have like a mutually satisfying experience, right? You have to take your time and go through foreplay. When you kiss woman well, go through foreplay, look at her in the eyes, connect emotionally. For women, sexual intercourse is more like an emotional connection. For men, I think they have this ability to disconnect their emotions somehow from the whole. For some of them, I think they see it as more like an activity, or maybe sport or something. If I'm wrong, please correct me. That's why the comment section is there. Let me hear from you, the men. If you think you are not so disconnected emotionally from sexual experience, let me hear, right? Let me know in the comments. But based on what statistics has shown us, men are not so very much invested emotionally when it comes to sex, except of course for some men who cannot have sex with any other woman, or except she's the one he has married. All right. So, but for women, it's a different thing entirely, right? A woman is emotionally invested in the whole thing. So it's like a combination of her body and her emotion. And that's why foreplay is a thing for a woman. Foreplay is very important for a woman, right? You can't just no, except you've started the foreplay from, like, maybe for example you intend to do this thing. People actually plan to have sex. People plan it. If you already know that, okay, I want some action this night. For some men, you begin to set the stage from morning. You begin to, you can, while she's at work, you can send her a text, hey baby, you look beautiful by the way this morning. Or just try and have a conversation, tell her something nice, call her, begin to, when you do all of those things and you're so sweet to her, by evening, trust me, she's already thinking that way, in that direction. It's as simple as that. But I don't know, for some men, they feel that, you know how you guys are now. Most men are chasers. Once they chase a woman and they get her and marry her, now he's like, you're mine and you're in my house. Why do I have to do all of these things? You're my wife. I have every right to your body. That is true, 100%. But in getting your rights every day, don't you want it to be very pleasant? I mean, how would you how would you describe, or how would you see cold food and warm food, or hot food that is, sizzling? Food that has been served to you and is warm or is hot and is sizzling, you enjoy it better. Or maybe, rather than a food that is cold and you're just eating it, you're grumbling. You're eating it, you're grumbling. Okay, somebody is saying some men believe that when you give her too much foreplay, it can cause a man early ejaculation. How true is this statement? Okay, I think this can be true for some men. Too much foreplay can cause early ejaculation. Okay, maybe it's for a man who cannot probably hold an erection for too long. It can be true for such men. But that's the thing about marriage. Marriage is not, you're not meeting with a stranger. Marriage communication is always very important. Talk about these things. Talk about it. When it comes to marriage between a man, you and your wife, there is no limit to what you can discuss. Nothing. Don't leave anything under. Just, don't leave anything. Talk about everything. If you know that too much foreplay is going to make you lose or maybe ejaculate too soon and she's not even ready yet, and the next thing you don't, no, you talk about it with her. If you're supposed to do foreplay for maybe 10 minutes, 15 minutes, or maybe 20 minutes, and for you, 20 minutes foreplay is too much, discuss it with your wife. I don't believe that any woman you discuss with, any reasonable woman, no, because like I said, some women are narcissistic. They don't want to understand, they don't want to hear. Maybe they were thinking you're in a lot of money, you get plenty money, and then coming into the marriage, they're not seeing that money. And the next thing, she's already like, how did I get here? Things like that. Okay. So talk about it. If you need to get help, bring someone in, because if you need to bring someone into your relationship that would help you, by all means talk about it. Any relationship that has effective communication, they have lesser problem. Because if you have a problem and I don't know about it, how am I going to help? How am I going to help that situation? If I believe that you should have foreplay with me for 25 minutes, and to you, having foreplay for 25 minutes is going to make you ejaculate early, and you don't discuss it with me, how am I going to know and how am I going to adjust? Because marriage is about, bending backwards, adjusting, shifting ground, just compromising on a daily basis. In all honesty, that's what marriage is all about. Okay? So that's it. That's what marriage is all about. Okay? So I believe that talk about it with her, discuss it with her. I believe she would understand, and you can have a harmonious relationship. And there's something called training. You can learn these things. I'm not a sexual therapist, but I believe that there are people who have been trained to teach people these things. If someone is having early ejaculation, for example, there are specialists that can actually train you and help you hold it, somehow just help you manage it. There are people like that. So you can seek the help of professionals. There's nothing wrong with that. There is absolutely nothing wrong with that, honestly. Thank you guys for joining. I really appreciate you, especially for those who have been with me on this live stream from the beginning. I so much appreciate you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, Godwin. You're welcome. Thank you so much. Um thank you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your support. Okay. I've not really been going live on my channel, but I think it's a great way to connect with my audience like I'm doing right now. Thank you so much. I really appreciate. Please give it a like, give it a like. I appreciate you. And this is not a live session I'd like to hold for too long. So I'm going to end it now, but it doesn't end here, okay? I can always answer your question. If you have any question, drop it in the comments, or if you have a personal question for me, you can send me an email. Also join my membership channel, right? That way you can get special perks, early response to your comments and questions, all of that good stuff. Okay. Thank you so much, all. I really appreciate you. I'm happy we had these little interactions, and I look forward to going live again so we can have more discussions in time to come. Thank you so much. So I'm going to end the live here, right? Like I said, if you have more questions, please don't hesitate. Send me an email or drop it in the comments down below. Thank you so much. Stay cheerful, like I say always, and have a blessed weekend. Thank you.